Hello, everybody. I'm Jerry Lynn, and today I'm going to spend 100 Minecraft days just getting started on my biggest project I have ever done in my Minecraft career, which is going to be getting going on a mega city over here with some nice tall skyscrapers. I just think it's going to look so cool to bring the area together here a little bit, give some height in the background of my spawn area, and yeah, it's just so different than anything I've ever done before. I'm really looking forward to getting going on some bigger projects in this world, and this is going to be the first. And we've spent some time getting the area cleared out and a certain amount smoothed out. You can see we got a road over there, and we'll get another one going over here. They'll end up being a lot bigger than what we got mapped out there, but yeah, we definitely got some work to do before I get going. And I'd spent a good amount of time getting this land smoothed out, but now I've decided I want to get rid of a lot of the curves and just get more straight lines. It'll just be easier to work with as I get going on my city here. I am going to really try to show the process here, let you feel the grind without letting it get boring here, and just have a nice, satisfying video of this all coming together start to finish. But I did have to show you why I lost my levels. And I should mention, the majority of this was all done on stream, so if you want to really see the process, you can go watch some of those. And I will also mention, the reason it's taken so long is because I had pretty much had 75% of it all edited and done. I was making it as I went, and I was moving some files around on my phone and accidentally deleted iMovie. So I had to re-edit it all. I had to go through hours and hours of all this footage to get this going again, so that's why it's taken so long between episodes here, but that's enough excuses. I was definitely happy to be making some progress on the road here. I'm really liking that I went with a nice big road. I went with even bigger than I was planning on, but it really set the tone for the area, and I'm really looking forward to doing a more modern build. Again, this is just so different than anything I've ever done, and I was really liking how it was looking from up here, and I was getting excited to start mapping the area out a little bit, just figuring out some general locations and heights of different buildings here, and sketched out the bases for a few. And again, this was all done on stream if you really want to get deep into my thought process here, but pretty simple. It's just a matter of doing it on such a big scale. I'm pretty much going with a grid, not symmetrical grid, but definitely just straight lines, not worrying about any angles or anything for the time being. And yeah, you can see we're going with some pretty tall buildings, and I'm really liking the idea of this kind of angled line as they go up, and when you come out here, they go from short to tall, and man, it's going to look really cool getting some buildings going up there. And like I said, you'll be able to see the ones in the back behind the ones in the front. But before I really put too much thought into the buildings, I need to get this entire road installed, which this was a pretty big project here. I will say very resource intensive. I should have kept track of how much deep slate I ended up using. But I was getting a whole bunch of dirt as I went, which will definitely come in handy in the future as I plan to do some of these bigger projects, and I want to do some serious terraforming, so having a lot of dirt is never a problem. We definitely got a lot of it here. And I know this might seem like kind of a slow start to the episode here, but this was a big project, and I'm trying to find a good balance of cutting things down, but also letting you feel the grind a little bit and just satisfyingly see it all come together here. I am going to cut out a few times of me coming over here and repairing my tools with my villagers and a couple resource grinding trips that I had to make. I did have to get a bunch of deep slate to make this work. From here on out will be the fun part. Nothing but block placing for the rest of the episode here, essentially. Starting with getting the road put in. And getting this first major hurdle done of getting this installed just felt really good, and I was getting real excited. This is my first true modern road I've ever built in Minecraft, and you can really start to get an idea for the general scale of the main area here, and I was excited to start plotting out some buildings here. And this one in the center is going to be the tallest, and I felt like I ended up going ridiculously big with it, and I would say I did in a lot of ways, but once it all comes together, I wouldn't say it's outrageously big. But I did start figuring out some of the heights and general sizes just to start to see a shape for the area. And it is really fun just seeing it all starting to come together here, even if they're just skeletons. Definitely gives you an idea for just the scale, and like I said, the lines I'm getting with the rooftops of just the varying heights. And I hadn't even installed the 2 tallest buildings yet of them all. You can see how ridiculously big this main one in the middle is, which I am looking forward to building my big penthouse on the top floor so I have this beautiful view all the time. But yeah, flying back here, which is one of the main reasons I'm doing this area, is to have this be a backdrop to my spawn area, and I was feeling really good. I'm just really liking the scale we got going on, even though I might regret that later when I'm actually filling the buildings in. But you can imagine getting some smaller buildings on the side and just having this nice kind of diamond shape going on. So I got back to plotting out some buildings. A couple of them being taller, like this will be probably one of the tallest ones on the side here. But I was being strategic with my heights and placements. As I was working down here, I realized that I wanted to dig this dirt down a little bit so that I could have a view of my spawn area and my spawn mountain in the background. I'd hate to have that blocked by just some dirt, which I did plan on having an opening over here anyway, so I decided where I was going to have a building over here to make the corner, and got that plotted out, and then I got digging things up a little bit, which this does turn out to be a fairly awkward area that I'm going to have to really come back and figure out how I want to make it work, but I can't help myself but wanting to have this opening so that you can see this from the city. I think that's kind of important. And while I was terraforming, I did start smoothing this area out a little bit. I spent a little time digging things up, getting ready for the future, as well as figuring out how I'm going to connect my path from my original bridge over there to the main road. And obviously we'll update it when the time comes, but yeah, you can see our buildings are just looking really cool, getting that shape I'm going for. And I just kept on going. And I'll come back and get buildings going down the right side if I got time, but I was feeling pretty satisfied with my layout of buildings here, and I want to try to get them filled in best I can, so I don't want to overcommit myself. But yeah, I'll keep taking these flies backwards just so you can really get the view of it all coming together. Like I said, I just want a nice, satisfying episode of seeing this come together start to finish, and taking a step back is a very important part of the building process. And I wanted to get started on filling in some of these buildings here. And I'm going to start with this blue one, mainly just because I really like the light blue wool and ice combo that I had going on in my jungle area over there. So that's going to be the first building I do here. And I will say, I quickly realized how big these buildings really are and how much of a process this is going to be to get all these filled in, let alone decorated. And not to mention the amount of materials it's going to take, but that's the kind of project I'm looking for. I've been in this world for so long, I'm ready to take on something like this, and yeah, getting these walls put in is really where the fun's going to start. We're going to really start seeing things come together. And for this first building, I was kind of texturing as I went. I do end up simplifying that a little later and making it easier on myself. Then I'll come back and texture as I really detail the buildings, but for this first building, we're kind of taking our time, and I think it's looking really cool down here, and I did decide to go ahead and get a start on the details for this building at least. So picked out where the center was going to be and just kind of roughed out a sketch for where I want the door to be. Again, I'll be coming back and really putting the details in, but I wanted to get a visualization and just a general idea, which the main concept I'm going to go for a lot of these buildings, I think, is just getting some windows and glass filled in and then covering the whole building in glass. I just think that's a simple yet cool looking building. Like, I did it in my jungle area a couple times and I think it just looks really cool, and I think on this big scale it's going to look even cooler. So we're covering this building in light blue glass and using regular blue glass to break up each level. So each level will be 4 blocks with a window in between and light blue glass covering everything. And I just think it ends up looking really cool in the end. And it's cool because I can use the glass as scaffolding as I work my way up the building here. So it actually works out pretty well for putting the building together. And again, like I said, simple concept, but I really like that for a skyscraper idea. I think that looks really good. I think the blue glass, just a great idea. With a little editing magic, we got the other side done here. And I just think it's really looking cool. And then I decided we're gonna do one more building. And orange is such a cool color with blue, so I ended up making this building out of dirt and terracotta, which ends up being kind of a cool combo. And I just figured I have so much dirt. I'm trying to make these buildings out of easy to gather resources for one thing. So using the dirt worked out, and then covering it with orange glass and brown glass to break up the levels. Other than that, the same concept of the blue building. And we're at nighttime, get some lights put in, and I think these just look really cool, especially at nighttime. And I am just getting started on them, obviously, but I did just kind of want to get an idea for this concept in. And yeah, well, we could do some fire escapes or some graffiti on the side there, or just continue the glass. I don't know how I'm going to go about it, but before I get filling in the other buildings, I needed to repair my tools up and do a serious resource gathering project. And these just happen to be some of my favorite mining sounds, so I'm going to get out of the way. Let me know what's your favorite. And it might be a hot take, but I think snow is probably my favorite Minecraft mining sound. And I would say sandstone's creeping up that list as well. But I figured I'd go through, show you all the resources I gathered, shulker box after shulker box. And in some cases, this doesn't even end up being enough. But definitely a good start on things. Probably the most resources I've ever had in one place, getting ready to just place a whole bunch of blocks and see things fill in. Starting with this white building right here. And I'm just going to get out of the way a second and let it all come together. I'm really looking forward to getting all these filled in. You can see how I have the buildings planned out so that you can see the building behind it and they're not really blocking each other. You can see all the buildings at the same time from most angles. These big buildings, they take a lot of blocks. I didn't even have enough to fill the whole building up here. But yeah, just the way they're kind of stepping up as we go to the main building in the background, and holy moly, this was a lot of blocks. And then I remembered I did have a good amount of basalt built up that I thought would look really cool with the mud, so I went and grabbed all of that, even though it was nowhere near enough in the end. But it is a cool block to mix with the mud for sure, and with the deep slate. But I definitely had a realization of how many blocks this is really going to take. I know it's dark here and you probably can't see it that well, but you are seeing an idea for the building kind of looking over the top of everything else. And I just got in a block placing marathon. And I was getting real excited on this step back. Again, I can't stress enough just the way I got the heights kind of working like a staircase as they go up there. It's just all coming together exactly as I had planned. And I think they're the perfect size to be a backdrop to my spawn area there. So again, just kept filling in these walls. I didn't quite have enough to get these whole buildings installed. It was a ridiculous amount of blocks, but I just kept my head down and really kept placing and filling things in pretty good. So we'll have to get the walls on the backside done, but I'm gonna move on for now just because I want to make some progress this episode. I don't want everything to just be filling these walls in. But I did decide to fill in the rest of the white building here. And from here on out, I will have all buildings completely filled. And we're just going to place blocks the rest of this episode here and just see how many buildings we can get filled in before I hit day 100 working over here in the area. And I'm just trying to find different combos, usually of 2 different blocks, and we're just going to kind of fill these in, probably adjust the heights on a few, and come up with an interesting city here. I actually really like how this netherrack and brick building came together as kind of the corner of the area here, and once we get texturing and blending, it won't be so harsh of a line, and that'll be the case for all these buildings I install from here on out. I should mention I was originally planning on going with more of a one building at a time approach, but I just couldn't help myself but wanting to see this area laid out. So for now I'm just going in, getting these buildings filled in, and then I'll come back and attack each building individually. That's the plan at least. And I'm not overly concerning myself with what to do with the interiors, other than that all these buildings are just options to put farms in, essentially, and kind of have this be an industrial area in the future. But I'm not letting myself stress too much about worrying about the interiors, because that's a whole nother thing. But I do plan on having the bottom floors set up with some free roaming villagers and bring some life to the area, and I think it's looking really cool with these different colored buildings. Want to get a green building going, so I got making a bunch of green blocks and took a break and gathered a bunch more materials so I can fill in the back sides of my big buildings there. But yeah, seeing these buildings coming along the side, it's just really fun watching this come together. And now we'll see how far I get if I'm just doing nothing but placing blocks for these last 12 days. Starting with the green building here. Shout out to Relic in the chat. Figured that would go well with the orange building right beside it. And I was just going crazy. Got this whole side of the road put in here. Again, just really getting an idea for the scale going on. And I think everything's just about the perfect size as I get building it here. So then I moved to the other side just to see what we can squeeze in these last few days here. And I feel like I do a pretty good job. And oh man, I'm quite happy with myself actually with how far I've gotten. I didn't imagine getting this much filled in when I started filling these buildings in, and man, I just think it's looking really cool. And I've had more time than I thought I was going to have, so I put another fairly big building in off to the side here again, just thinking about the balance of the build heights, as well as I had enough time left to get these last walls in the back of the giant buildings here. I didn't have enough basalt, so I just used some gray wool for now. We can replace it with basalt later if we really need to, but oh my gosh, I don't believe how far I've gotten. I had 1 day left, and I just spent that time digging out the road for the future. I'm not going to have time to install it right now, but I figured I had a day to kill. So I just planned out the alleyways and the different crossroads, and obviously I need to get a bunch of deep slate to fill this in, but man, I'm just really liking how this is all coming together here. I'm super excited about this project, and the sun is going down on day 99. And again, I'm really happy with the progress I made. It was fun going into it with a good amount of blocks built up, so it's not like starting completely fresh like I have for all my other 100-day projects. I had a nice little start, so we really saw some progress. I know there's not much details going on, but I feel like getting this grind done is just going to make it lots of fun when I come back and start adding the details. We've got a nice base going on, and now everything's just cherries on top as we keep on going. And just looking at these first 2 buildings that I've put a little bit of detail in, you can just imagine when we get the whole area filled in with even that minimal amount of detail, just how cool it's going to look. Even just windows in all the buildings. Yeah, we'll take one last flight to our view tree here. But you gotta have a good view tree, and these trees work out perfect for that. But oh man, I just think this looks so cool. I know I've said it every time I come back here, but just the way the buildings kind of staircase themselves up there, I just think it looks awesome. And I can even add some bigger ones in the background in the future if I want, but we got the diamond going on that I've been going for, and like I said, even just getting the windows put in is going to make a huge difference. But I will say, I really like that I went with this approach rather than a one building at a time approach that I was originally planning on, because even just having these blocks back here just looks really cool and just adds so much to the spawn area. And the plan is to have either a castle or some kind of big mega project going over here to bring some height to this side. And I'm just really liking my visualization for what's going to be going on over here. So yeah, I appreciate you all bearing with me between episodes here. I know it was a little while. Like I said, I had a pretty big mishap, and it just took a while to get some motivation to really want to get back and edit it all together again. So now that I got this done, I'm feeling pretty rejuvenated to jump back into the Minecraft thing here. I am thinking for the foreseeable future, I'm going to kind of stream as I make the episodes like I did with this one, even though I got thrown that curveball in the middle. But I want to try to make that work and be a little more present on the streams. Might change my editing style a little bit in the videos, but we'll see what I can come together with. And yeah, I really appreciate you all who made it to this point in the video. I'm really happy with where I got with these 100 days, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes. I am going to take a little break from this area and just kind of work on some details and the rest of my world, I think, before I come back, but I am looking forward to coming back and attacking some of these buildings here. So yeah, I appreciate you all for coming, and have a good day.